All right, hey everyone, welcome to a Zelda Speedruns. We've got a Link to the Past, no major glitches tournament. This is a losers bracket round 9 with Bydey versus Andy. And on comms today, we got Fricker and McMonkey. How's it going, guys?
It's going pretty well, thanks.
All right, I'll set the runners off and you guys are good to go.
Let's go.
Thanks, Angry Demon Noises. Yeah, we got a hype match, a rematch here with Andy versus Bydey. I'm excited to see how this goes down.
Yeah, it should be a pretty hype match. I'm excited to see. I think Bydey is probably going to try to go all out this game, just to try to keep pace with Andy. So it should be a fun watch.
Yeah, certainly a different set of circumstances when you're at a disadvantage coming in terms of PB, in terms of seed. You really got to stretch a little bit to try to nip the higher ranked runner, but he's done it before. Last round, he took out Yoho, the number 10 seed, so this wouldn't be the first time Bydey took down one of the giants.
Yeah, for sure. And, their PB spread between the two runners isn't really that far apart. It's, give or take around 40 seconds or so. But obviously with Aghanim and the blue balls, it could go either way. So Bydey is doing a lot of practice lately, and he can definitely 124 anytime. And Andy is just Andy. He's just an overall very, very good player. So he can bust out a PB on any given run. So
yeah, and despite having fewer matches overall in the tournament, he's had a pretty tight cluster of times. He's been pretty consistent through the tournament. Really in that 125 to 126 range, and Bydey's best time in the tournament so far is a mid 126. So it's a tall task, but we'll see what happens. Any kind of mistake could swing it one way or the other.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's really tough to play this game well for an hour and 26 minutes or whatever the case may be. So this is just a lot of RNG you got to deal with, and a lot of really tough rooms and bosses. So yeah, it's at this point in the tournament, anybody could beat anybody. So
yeah, and a few nerves too. This is win or go home territory. So going to be a little bit of blood pressure building throughout the run.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like both runners have their final names, so we should be starting hopefully pretty soon. I was also talking to Bydey earlier too, before he was getting ready, and I'm pretty sure Bydey's not going to watch the restream, so he's just going to do his best to focus out.
Yeah, he said the same to me. Andy will be taking peeks here and there, but not watching too closely. But yeah, Bydey's going to be going in the dark. So if Andy does make a mistake, Bydey won't know to be able to pull back. So we'll see if how that plays out. If Bydey really is going all out aggressive throughout the run, we'll see if that pays off for him.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we can talk a little bit about the runners. Bydey, I know he's been speedrunning this game for a little over a year. He speedruns a multitude of other games as well, but I believe his main game is Link to the Past. He's got a very good time, and Bydey, he's pretty much well known for kind of the quote unquote like Bydey strats that he does. So sometimes you'll kind of see some unorthodox strategies in rooms or bosses, and he kind of does it his way, and that's really cool because a lot of the times you don't always have to do what's optimal, but you kind of want to do what's best for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Consistency is king, and it shows with a 125, a low 125 after just over a year of playing the game. That shows the amount of work that he's put into it. And Andy on the other side, I mean, he's put in work for almost a decade now on this game. So, the amount of muscle memory and skill that he's developed going back to 2012, that's hard to compete against. And, he's still looking to improve, which is really impressive.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure Andy's been speedrunning since like the Titanic sank. So he definitely has a lot of experience under his belt, especially in this game. Andy being, one of the main randomizer runners. And what's cool about seeing Andy run no major glitches category is he does a lot of unorthodox strategies as well. Some that he's picked up along the years, and some that just works for him well during randomizer races. And the cool thing is, it works for him, and it can save time depending on what RNG is in the room. So it's really cool to see both of these two go head to head with some strategies that most of us runners aren't really used to.
Yeah, that was one of the things that had me really excited about watching this matchup. Is it goes to show the lower ranked runners that you don't always have to try for the optimal strat. If you find something that works, you can make it pretty far with non-optimal strats. And I'm using air quotes on non-optimal because clearly these guys are pretty close to optimal even when they go off script a bit.
Yeah, it's always a good treat to watch Andy run too, because like I was saying earlier, like if he gets bad RNG in a realm, there's literally one main thing that all the runners do to try not to lose a lot of time with bad RNG, and Andy will do just something crazy, and everyone will be like, "What in God's name was that?" But guess what? He didn't lose that much time, and it works. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, you can't argue with the results.
All right, well, we are off an escape. Everyone's favorite segment. Looks like Andy, just splitting the defense there. What a gamer, and Bydey gets through the hallway as well. We'll see if both runners do the same key guard strategy.
And they do.
Yeah, so escape is pretty straightforward. Not a lot going on. Definitely an introductory to the game. You fight a little mini boss here coming up, so we can save Zelda. So that's kind of the first point of this segment, where you can kind of lose a little bit of health and lose a little bit of time. Basically, the ball and chain. I'm pretty sure Bydey goes for the one pot strategy, which is very consistent. And I know Bydey personally has gotten a 49 escape with one pot, which is awesome. Andy will probably go for an 8/, but the 8/ can lose a little bit of time if you end up clanking on the ball and chain or getting hit.
Yeah, and it can be hard as we're watching better and better runners compete throughout the tournament. It can be hard to spot the difference between a runner who can get, just get a sub 6 escape versus these guys who are getting low 550s, and really looking at the clean movement, going through doors, going through tight gaps, not rubbing on the edges of things. It's something that's hard to even spot at first, let alone execute.
Yeah, for sure. And the funny thing about that is, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, there's certainly no going back, and it can haunt you in your own runs.
So both runners getting through ball and chain pretty well. It looks like Bydey took some damage. I don't know if that was on the way out, but I did.
Yeah, Bydey had a little bit of trouble with the second key guard there, and I think that's where he got the damage.
Gotcha. I know Andy did do, I believe, one clink on the ball and chain, which isn't too bad. So I'm only assuming that Andy's probably going to skip Sanctuary Heart once he gets out. Bydey, I believe, probably will grab it just for safety. Honestly, one of the best safeties in the game. So in a tournament setting, it's a very good idea to grab Sank Heart. But, Andy's Andy, and he'll do fun optimal stuff.
Yeah, it's really a balance in a race like this, doing enough to keep you safe without losing too much time, especially for Bydey, who probably feels like he's coming in at a disadvantage. So to take the time to get Sank Heart, it's probably a worthwhile investment.
All right, Andy headed to the back of Escape. The few rooms in the back of Escape can be a little annoying. It really just comes down to how fast you can react to the RNG from the bats and the snakes and the rats. So there's a lot of time loss that can happen with bad RNG, but as long as you have good RNG reaction, both these runners should be more than fine.
Yeah, we're talking a difference of a few seconds, 3 or so seconds total if you get the worst RNG compared to the best.
That's a lifetime in this game. I mean, we fight for frames. We will do a strat that will save like 5 frames, and if we mess it up, we lose 2 seconds. Or like, yeah, we're gonna try to save.
Yeah, those seconds are precious.
Andy getting a very friendly key rat as it's running towards him. Bydey still gets a pretty good RNG on the key rat as well.
Yeah, neither of them dealing with the dreaded northwestern key rat.
Oh, Andy didn't want to go for rat frames, but he ends the segment with about a 550. Very good. Bydey coming through with a late 54, which is pretty good because of the boom guard mess up that he had. So still very good escape.
Yeah, absolutely. So rat frames. Let me see if I understand it. You can correct me. Getting hit by the rat and then slashing your sword will transition the screen without your shield showing, which then allows the game to render the text quite a bit faster during the resulting cutscene. Does that sound about right?
Yep, that is correct. You can also get something called beep frames or priest frames, which essentially does the same thing to make the text a little bit faster, but obviously you have to have low health and be beeping at that point. But yeah, you save a little bit of time on that priest text, which is nice because it's extremely long. Ooh, Andy taking a bot by an Octorok. Can be a little scary just because Andy did not pick up the Sanctuary Heart, but luckily once we get inside Eastern, there are multiple heart pots to regain your health, so...
Yeah, health not hard to come by in Escape, although Andy's not starting out with a whole lot, so not a lot of wiggle room there, especially once we get towards the big key in Eastern.
Yeah, this overworld to Eastern can be really tedious because there's so much movement and pumping involved and timing due to some of the enemies on the screen. It can be pretty tiring to get through this, so luckily this is the only dungeon that we have to go through without the boots.
Yeah, and Bydey unfortunately getting bopped by one of the Octoroks. You know, when the Octorok goes right over the top of the statue, it can be hard to react to what's happening, which direction it's going. Taking another little hit from the cannonball, which is surprising. But again, health not really too much of a concern.
Andy making a little mistake in the Stelphos from just taking the stepping into the wrong path line there, so he had to kill an extra Stelphos, but luckily his reactions were pretty fast. He does boomerang the small magic pot, so that'll save him a little bit of time on the refill at the end of the boss.
Did he think he was intending to get the small magic or to get the heart, or both?
I would say heart for sure, but if the magic is there, why not, right?
Yeah, it seems like he kind of got sniped by the small magic and didn't end up with the heart, so we'll see if he picks up a pot here in this Stelphos room to grab it. No, he's going to go in to the anti-fairy skip with 2.5 hearts.
Yeah, that should be fine. We only lose a heart and a half in the big key D-boost room, so that'll leave Andy with a full heart for the back half of Eastern. Nice D-boost from Andy. We'll see how the D-boost goes for Bydey. It's typically nice to get like an upper D-boost. That was pretty good. You always want an upper D-boost toward the chest, obviously. Sometimes you get like a right D-boost, or even worse, like you get D-boosted below the anti-fairies, and that can be pretty costly for time.
Yeah, or worse still, get D-boosted so that you can't hit the switch after grabbing the pod and have to take another shot at it. But neither of these guys having that issue.
All right, so Andy grabbing
very close for Andy. That Popo trying to pick up that arrow.
And as you see, Bydey has the gigantic rupee lead of 2-0.
Now, do you anticipate that's going to help his routing at all?
No, his rupee routing will stay exactly the same. The only concern is once they get to the double Igor room, where the red rupee is going to drop for both of these runners.
Yeah, that big 20 can make a little bit of a time difference if one of them can snag it.
All right, Andy's was off to the side, and so was Bydey's. Goodbye, red rupee forever! All right, Andy doing the top right arm strat. Very nicely done. Gets the quick kill. Looks like Bydey went for the pinkish strat, which is about like 20 frames faster. Very, very nicely. Oh, I must have missed that when I looked at Bydey's screen. So Andy did grab his red rupee, and Bydey just decided to continue on.
Yeah, I missed that as well.
So basically, when we're running this category, we like to get that red rupee. It is a pretty big advantage, and mainly because once we get to the Dark World, we need to have 110 rupees to get into the first dungeon. So throughout the Light World, we need to collect some rupees. We'll have 2 tree poles that'll give us some rupees later on, but it always helps to mitigate some of the time loss on collecting more rupees by getting at least the red rupee in Eastern Palace. So Andy obviously felt that was pretty important to grab. It was right there. I would only assume that he used his boomerang to get it. So he's got the rupee lead.
Now we get the long dash over to the library, and then the long dash over to Desert Palace. A lot of pretty simple screens here. Not a whole lot can go wrong. You know, maybe you miss it. Hit the A button a little early on a screen transition, something like that. But I don't imagine there'll be any major issues.
All right, both runners getting first try spin speed out of Eastern. Andy going for library speed, so does Bydey. Andy having a little trouble getting off of the ladder, but Bydey's was pretty clean, so he makes up a little bit of time there.
Yeah, those cardinal direction inputs on the ladder can be tricky when you're trying to go fast. You just naturally drift towards that diagonal, and it'll stop you from getting that spin speed.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, being top runners of this game, we're kind of bullheaded when it comes to spin speed. Most of us will sit there and waste like 4 seconds if we miss it. And we're like, no, we're going to get this spin speed.
Yeah, it makes sense when you're expecting it to succeed every time. There's not a whole lot of mental real estate for when it fails.
All right, both runners looking like they're... Oh, Bydey gets a pixel-perfect stop on the dash so he can dash underneath the cactus. That was very nice, but both runners having a pretty good overworld to Desert Palace.
Yep, just that little bit of time lost trying to activate the spin speed for Andy, but otherwise, well done, overworld.
So one thing I noticed on Bydey's screen that Andy's not doing yet, and that's just because he's sticking with all the strats from the Titanic era, is Bydey did what we call stair drag canceling. So if you see Bydey kicking up dust off of like a couple of small manual stairs, or turning to the left or the right, just coming off of stairs, he's actually canceling that stair drag. So he's saving a couple of frames on each one of those staircases.
Is there any risk to trying to cancel the stair lag?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you try to cancel the stair drag too early with a turn or a dash dust, you're basically going to lose time because you still take the rest of the stairs and the drag. Even though you try to prevent it, because you did it too early, you kind of lose that time. Unfortunately, we don't have game audio from Andy at the moment, so we can't hear him book pumping. So I'm sure that's what he's doing through some of these portions where he's walking.
One of the Titanic era strats to gain exactly 0 frames.
And there you go. You see Bydey kick up dust right off those stairs. Does it again. That just shows you how incredibly optimized this game is, and more importantly, this category is. If we can save 2 frames by doing something goofy like that, we're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, saving a couple frames per screen adds up to quite a lot of time save over the course of the run when you have 500 and something screens that you're going to be going through.
All right, we'll see if... I'm assuming Andy will probably go dash on the upper side of this room. And... Oh, he goes below. I think Bydey goes below, too. So this is a relatively new strategy, which is really nice because it spawns the 2 Popos on the top later. So their movement stays the same, and they don't move at all. So you don't get really bad RNG where they get in your way, and then you try to hit them, and then, you know, you get hit by the BMOs. So that's it's definitely really good. Doesn't lose that much time, but it's very safe.
So is that one of those strats that you're gonna break out for a race, but if you're trying a PB, trying to find those frames to save, that you're gonna go above the torch to hope for the better RNG?
It really depends on what type of runner you are. Looks like Bydey gets a pretty good first cycle. It looked like Andy did as well. Unfortunately, he gets the landmo that spawns at the same time as the other landmo. That's a very tough pattern. Early 3 cycle, I believe, for Andy, and this should be a 3 cycle now. Oh, Bydey
just saved it.
Got a couple of gamers here. Yeah, that boss is very, very hard to optimize. Andy is probably going to go for Cactus Dash here. And he gets it. What a gamer. Yeah, that Cactus Dash, basically nobody goes for that. It doesn't save that much, and it's very hard to do. You actually have to... It's a pixel-perfect trick to stop that dash and dash to the right.
Is Cactus Dash faster than dashing straight down and slashing the jazz hands?
Yes, Cactus Dash is the fastest strategy, but not by much. And that... Oh no, Bydey missing the portal! Be careful. Okay, thank God.
Yeah, that would have been game over there. That would have been a disaster.
Well, luckily in the tournament, he can save and quit and then just do West Side Breeze routing. But yeah, it would lose a considerable amount of time. I completely agree with Fox's answer. GG. Alright. Both runners are rescuing the old man. I want to know how the old man got lost in the cave. I just make up a story where he was on his way to the store to buy a pack of smokes, and he just got lost.
Yeah, I imagine maybe it was a different time of day. The cave was a little lighter when he went in. He forgot his lamp. Didn't feel like going back to get it. I'll make it back in time, and then all of a sudden it got dark on him.
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. Alright, Andy making it to the top of the mountain with full health. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, and any Boy Scouts in the chat will know the advice when you get lost is you just stay put. Just stay where you are, somebody will find you, and you can't argue with it. It worked for the old man.
Alright, so Andy making it into Hera with full health. Bydey, on the other hand, at 2.5 hearts, can be pretty scary going into Hera, mainly due to the unpredictable mini Moldorms coming at you.
Yeah, and the first one, not playing nice. We'll see how the rest of them treat him. But yeah, it's not a comfortable position to be in low health in Hera.
Bydey handled that bad RNG pretty well, though. And Andy getting the dash boom. Bydey going for the more traditional strategy, which actually doesn't lose that much time. But Bydey is going to have to hit the crystal switch in the next room, while Andy just gets to dash right and dash down.
Yeah, more importantly, you get a nice little water break when you get the boom dash. So Andy building a little bit more of a lead, having gone through desert a little cleaner, getting through Landmo a little faster, plus the problems with the portal that Bydey had. Not a huge lead at this point, but certainly not the direction Bydey wants it to be going.
Ooh, Bydey taking a couple of unfortunate Stealthos hits there. Andy on the other side having a very good Beatles run. Alright, we are coming up on the Hera bomb jump. A lot of different strategies for this bomb jump. Ooh, Bydey down to a half a heart. Be very careful. Alright, Andy going with the spin technique, which is pretty popular nowadays. It's relatively new find, I believe, from the randomizer community. Very, very good.
Yeah, so Bydey here is going to have to be extra careful with these mini Moldorms, pick up a heart so that he has enough to even do the bomb jump, and then make it through another little mini gauntlet with the Kodongos and the mini Moldorm.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I'm pretty sure Bydey hit the switch on the way up. And Andy having a very clean Moldorm fight right now. Oh, just misses the dash, but cleans it up very well.
Yeah, a little scary there. If he had gotten frame ruled, that could have been disastrous, but held in there and got that last hit in. 6 hits to take down Moldorm.
Nice Moldorm from Bydey as well. On Andy's side here, he's going to be going down through the cave towards the Lost Woods, and we're going to see some tree poles. So, like I said before, we need to collect 110 rupees minimum to get into the first dungeon in the Dark World. So, on the first tree pole, we're going to grab some blue rupees, and at that point, we need to kill 4 enemies on and from the Master Sword without getting hit, and then pull 1 more tree to get red rupees. Ooh, Andy going for Dill Pickle. Yeah, ooh, he does it from the side. Nice.
Yeah, both are runners with pretty good arrow counts coming out of Hera. They're not going to have any concerns going through Aga Tower. As we mentioned, that big 20 is going to come in effect right there. Bydey losing just a little bit of time, having to pick up all 4 of those blues. And he's going to have to pick all 4 of the reds up and still pick up more in Aga Tower.
Yeah, the 6 rupees that we pick up in Aga Tower are basically free since we lift those pots anyway, so... But yeah, Bydey losing just a little bit of time collecting more blue rupees, while Andy didn't have to because he grabbed the red rupee in Eastern Palace.
Andy with the slash strat on that bird, which always terrifies me when I'm expecting a dash strat.
Yeah, Bydey's actually not too far behind, especially coming into Aghanim shortly here, so the lead can definitely swing further or lower either way, depending on the RNG both these runners get.
Bydey choosing to forego the bird entirely and go with a rupee crab for his 4th kill, which maybe just speaking to, wanting to be a little safer there.
If Bydey killed the bush crab in the upper right, he might have missed the bird dash from the log, so then he had to go for the bush crab. Alright, Andy having a very good first room. He is going to dash kill through these guards to preserve the prize pack. Those guards will drop a heart and a fairy. We're going to save that for Turtle Rock later, so anytime that we dash kill through an enemy, it stops the advancement of that prize pack. So we actually plan that in advance.
Yeah, putting that fairy in the bank all the way to Turtle Rock.
In the chest turn! Oh, this gamer, let me tell you. Bydey also getting a nice dash kill on those guards. Alright, Andy getting through these rooms. You really want to preserve your sword beams through here. It can save you so much time. Oh, nice arrow block. It can save you so much time in, like, these last two rooms before Circle of Pots.
Yeah, Andy just holding on to those sword beams. There were a couple of close calls in there, but good job squeezing through the narrow gaps, using his shield to block that spear at the last second. Very well done through this sequence of rooms.
And Bydey also still holding on to his beams through this tower. It is extremely hard to get to this point in Aghanim's tower and still have your beams. Bydey got set back a little bit. I'm trying to remember what happened to Bydey.
Well, he had problems getting into the portal. He got hit a whole bunch of times going up Death Mountain, which made him have to slow down a little going through Hera.
Oh, yeah.
And then just a little bit slower going through Desert Palace and on Landmo.
Yeah, Bydey had to waste a little bit of time upper Hera too. He got to a half a heart in the petting zoo room. Also had to hit the switch and grab some more hearts before Moldorm. Alright. The timekeeper of this run, Aghanim himself, the wizard. We'll see how many blue balls each one of these runners gets. Each blue ball loses a whopping 6 seconds, which you just saw one from Andy there. So yeah, each blue ball is a 6-second time loss, and each lightning cycle is also a 6-second time loss. Oh, 3 straight blue balls! You hate to see it. Alright, we got 3-1. Ooh, Andy with his 4th.
Andy finally getting an energy beam in place of a blue ball there. Meanwhile, Bydey just still sitting on 1.
Yeah, Andy does get the extra lightning cycle here, so that's an additional 6 seconds that Bydey possibly won't have if he stays under 3 blue balls. And he gets his second. Oh no, 5 for Andy, 3 for Bydey. Oh, Aghanim, why?
Bydey thought he was on the lightning cycle. He thought he was on the lightning cycle. That's too bad.
Oh no, Andy finishes Aghanim with 6 blue balls. Bydey giving up a free energy ball. He thought he was on the lightning cycle.
Only cost him 6 seconds, but that's still 6 seconds he didn't want to give up.
Did Bydey still finish with 2, I believe, even with missing
with 3.
One, right? Oh, 3,
with 3,
okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So, 3 blue balls for Bydey, 6 blue balls for Andy. Bydey made up quite a bit of time there, even though missing one of the energy balls. We have ourselves a nice, comfy Dark World race.
Yeah, so about 12-second gain there for Bydey. It could have been 18, but he's still going to have to make up a little bit more time. And now we head to Palace of Darkness, which, the beginning part of the dungeon is honestly one of the easier segments, doing a bunch of errands, using the mirror to pop back to the beginning of the dungeon until you get to the hammer jump. We'll see how many pause buffers these guys need.
Yeah, the hammer jump can be a pretty tough strategy to do. Luckily, you can do, I want to say, about like 30 pause buffers before you start losing time to actually just getting the key. So that's a giant window of time save.
It sure is, yeah. I don't imagine either of these guys is going to be anywhere near 30. I don't think we'll even see double digits. I would be very surprised.
So basically, kind of the first half of Palace of Darkness, we're just grabbing some keys and just continuing to mirror back to the entrance of the dungeon. Not only is this routing faster, but it allows us to replenish the bomb pots. So we pretty much get like 90% of our bombs for the rest of the run right here in the first dungeon.
Yeah, and I like this segment when running it. It really feels like, just a good opportunity to take a breath after usually getting screwed by Aga with blue balls. You get some time to just catch your breath and settle into the Dark World portion of the run.
Yeah, Bydey actually saving a little bit of time on that side hop where the jelly is. Andy unfortunately took a couple of hits.
Yeah, now getting into Dark World, this is the area where Bydey's really been focusing recently. He's been doing some Dark World NMG runs, just really focusing on trying to get more consistent overall throughout all of Dark World. So we'll see if that helps settle him down a little bit from the little bumps he hit in the beginning.
And Andy takes a bonk. Andy is on his way to do the hammer jump. It's really cool to actually watch top runners do this, just because it looks so much easier than it actually is. But basically, we have to place the bomb on a specific pixel and then place Link on a different specific pixel. And that allows us to bomb blast through the rail, hold up, and actually get access to the hammer much earlier, so we don't have to go through the top door, grab an extra key, and all that fun jazz.
And Andy taking another heart of damage. Thankfully, he'll still be able to get back up to full health, which is going to help save him from having to make a couple of menu switches in the basement. Bydey getting through just a little cleaner, losing a single heart from the bomb jump, and otherwise looking pretty clean through pod.
Ooh, Andy getting the sexy statue. Oh, baby. Very nice mimics from Andy. Bydey trailing just slightly behind. Oh, Bydey with the 10 arrow drop.
You'd love to see that.
And then he gets hit by the spike. So this is very costly for Bydey. He actually has to do 2 menus here because he lost that heart and is unable to use the beams, as you see Andy do right there.
Yeah, so that's going to cost pretty close to 3 seconds, right? I mean, it's a little over a second per menu transition.
Yeah, this is pretty costly because he's going to have to switch to the boomerang or the arrows. There we go, and then switch. Oh, and then he misses. Then he's got to switch back to the hammer.
Well, lucky for him, he wasn't too quick on the switch back because that could have been even more costly.
Well, hopefully Bydey gets good turtles. And he gets bad RNG on turtles. Gotta love it.
Same as Andy had.
All right, Andy
turtles
hitting the
just
spin
not
speed.
Cooperating.
So Andy hitting the spin speed on this boss, which is going to actually make the hammer hitbox larger, making this fight a lot easier and less scary. Very nice Helma fight. See if Bydey, yep, Bydey hits the spin speed as well.
Should be noted, less scary is certainly not the same as not scary. This boss, no matter what, is one of those that I think always gets your heart rate up. Things can go south pretty quickly. Bydey in phase 2 here, one more hit, and he gets him. Very nice.
Yeah, very nice fight from Bydey. What y'all saw there is he actually stalled before he broke the mask, and that's because he saw that Helma was shooting a fireball. So if you knock off Helmasaur's mask, as the fireball appears, it actually despawns it. So that really helped him out to kind of mitigate some bad or worse RNG that he could have gotten.
Yeah, great heads-up play there, despite some less than ideal RNG from Helma.
Alright, so this pod overworld from the exit's very scary because these Ropas here can actually hit you out of your dash. So you have a total of 3 lotteries you got to get by. And then you have the Murder Dactyl, which is a pretty tough dash to the left. And then it ends the overworld with the Snapdragon, which does a giant amount of damage. Andy getting through it very nicely. See how it goes for Bydey. Ooh, Bydey had to readjust his dash, and he decided to take a safe back step so he didn't get hit by the Murder Dactyl.
Yeah, I like that play. As soon as things go a little different than usual, it's very easy to compound that mistake into another one. So to just take that little extra step back, make sure you get through without getting hit. I think that will save him times more often than it will.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like Andy misses the quick warp here on the flute dig. Let's see if Bydey gets it. For anybody that doesn't know, for every 8 pixels on the screen, 2 of those pixels are a quick warp. And basically, that just means that once we're out of the warp, we're able to control Link about 34 frames faster than if you were just to enter it without a quick warp pixel. So there's quite a bit of warps in this game, and if you hit all the quick warps, you can save right around 12 seconds through an entire run, so it's pretty big.
Yeah, some of the quick warps through the run are basically free. That one certainly is not one of them. You gotta hit the right pixel, recognize you're on it, and not lose more time than you're saving trying to fix it if you're off.
Yeah, Fox, we could have a field day on some of the things that Andy does, but at this point it really doesn't matter too much because he's still a pretty darn good runner, so he can do pretty much anything and still get a good finish. If only he would practice this category.
Yeah, it's funny. I asked both runners before the race if they had any plans once the tournament was over, and Andy did say that he thinks 123 is in reach, but he's just not sure if he wants to commit to it yet, which is understandable because that's a heck of a grind to get to 123.
Yeah, for sure. 120 grind, or sorry, 123 grind is definitely no joke. You gotta. It's mentally exhausting for the amount of things that go through your brain through an entire run when you played that well. You know what I would love to see from Andy is just bopping Josh. Like, he could retire after that. Alright, so Andy making his way very close to a couple of tough rooms in this dungeon. It's going to be the Gibdo screen, depending on the RNG he gets. Hopefully he doesn't get hit by Gibdo or a spike. And then he's going to make his way to the Hellway, or Alright, so Hellway, basically you have to stop your dash on Pixel Perfect, which he does. The RNG did not allow him to get through, unfortunately. He gets bopped a couple times by the Patrick Stars.
Yeah, some pretty rough RNG. There's nothing you can do about it. Andy did everything that he could to succeed on that Hellway, and the game just wasn't having it.
Alright, Bydey having to take the long route in Patrick's Star Room. He's not allowed to get the God Pixel due to RNG, but makes his way very nicely through this. No, Bydey with the hammer. I'll have to talk to him later about that.
Can you get through there clean when the cricket's bearing down on you?
Yeah, he did just fine. There's a sword strat that is faster, but it can be a little risky to do. Alright, let's see what the Zazak drops.
Sitting a few screens behind Andy here. Still not an insurmountable lead, but yeah, I'd like to see this race tighten up just a little bit. He's certainly close enough to keep pressure on Andy.
Ooh, Andy decides to go with the double slash on the conveyor instead of just dashing up the left side. Very nicely done.
We got Andy coming into the easiest boss fight in the game. It's a scripted fight. You just do the same thing every time, and you'll beat it the same way every time. Nothing ever goes wrong with blind, right?
Nope, never. Yeah, this fight is actually a nightmare casually, but to a speedrunner, it's pretty easy. I mean, pretty much everybody, I would say, I'd feel comfortable to say everybody in the top 20 could go into this fight with one heart and feel pretty confident.
Yeah, Andy taking one hit, not a big deal. He definitely had the hearts to deal with it. Bydey getting through without even taking a hit. Very nicely done. So if you're Bydey, who has said before the match he wasn't going to look at the restream, he wasn't going to look at Andy's stream, he's got no idea where he sits in relation to Andy. Coming out of pod about 43 seconds behind PB time. What do you think his mentality is at this point? Is he pressing even harder to try to make up time? Or is he in, let me just get through without any major mistakes mode?
I think, honestly, at this point, just being, the possible final tournament race for both runners and just going up against Andy, I think right now he's just thinking, let's just play my game, do like I normally do in the speedrun, and then just take it one room at a time. Don't overthink anything. And I could see Bydey jiving to techno music right now and just having fun. That's just who Bydey is, so.
Absolutely, it's part of what makes him a blast to watch.
%150% chance. That is extremely accurate. Oh, so little fun fact. I thought I'd throw this in there. The Kakariko music from this game was inspired by a 1989 Japanese anime movie called, I think it was called something for Kiki, which I thought was kind of weird because the monkey's name is Kiki. So I like to look up little fun facts about this game. Wait, there was a trivia question? I have no idea. Was it a trivia question?
I think Fox is asking why we didn't have a trivia question during Thieves Town, which I think is the thing that I forgot about.
Fox, if you have a trivia question, shoot it off. But I just figured it was a fun fact. I suppose I could have made it a trivia question. All right, so both Bydey and Andy getting the Tempered Sword. They're going to make their way to Skull Woods, which is a pretty short dungeon. How dare Andy not cancel that dash with an up input? I need to have words.
Just going to ask about that, see if you were getting any nervous tics from watching that.
Yeah, it hurt the soul a little bit.
Habits die hard, I'm sure. Some of a lot of these things that were discovered long after Andy started playing the game.
Oh, so just to finish up that fun fact, the movie was called Kiki's Delivery Service, and it was about a female witch named Kiki, and her cat was named Gigi, and the Kakarika music was inspired by that movie. So I thought that to be kind of fun.
That's fantastic.
All right, Andy getting a nice bomb jump to the fire rod. Oh, just missing the bop by the Moldorm.
Runners high-fiving as they pass each other to and from the fire rod. Oh, Bydey, nice getting the spin kill on the Moldorm. Not deal with that.
So Andy's taking a bop by the spike and has to dash through the Wallmaster. It'd be a little scary there. Goes for the sideways torch. Okay, Andy has redeemed himself.
Gotta be another one of those single-digit couple of frames saved.
Yeah, that doesn't save much, but it is a faster strategy. Also going for the rod dash. Bydey going with the more traditional fire rod opening here. Right, Andy dropping into Mothula. We'll see how this fight goes. There is an optimal strat where you can dash into Mothula and actually get a double hit here. We'll see if Andy gets it. Doesn't look like he did. And Mothula has to be a bully. Get away from the spikes, hello! Alright, finishing it out.
Meanwhile, Bydey having a little bit of a scary Mummy Hellway there. Not quite getting the torchlight that he wanted. One of the Gibdos getting in the way. Costing him some hearts, so he's going to drop in with 4 hearts, just the same as Andy did.
Alright, looks like Bydey has a good start on Moth, but... Oh, uses the fire rod. Oh, doesn't have enough magic for another one. Trying to get Mothula away from the top of the arena.
Grabbing onto the wall to save those lag frames. So a couple little scary points for both runners in Skull Woods. So not a perfect Skull Woods by any means, but both of them making it through, which is the important thing.
Alright, so we are on our way to Ice Palace. This split has quite a lengthy overworld because we have to do a little bit of chores here. So we are going to actually pick up the Quake Medallion and then make our way through Zora's Domain, grab the flippers for a very expensive 500 rupees, and then we're going to make our way to Ice Palace.
Yeah, it looks like Andy missed the quick warp on the Castle Gate portal there. See if Bydey's able to pick it up. Another one of those quick warps that's not the easiest to hit. Not a great frame of reference for it.
It looks like Bydey might get the bridge warp here. I'm almost positive he was on the right pixel. And he did. Nicely done.
Yeah, interestingly, using the menu to mirror there to help out with that quick warp.
Yep, very, very good choice of the menu. That's something a lot of top runners will do is they'll make all of their menus basically mean something to really help them out with positioning on a lot of different screens.
Yeah, we might see that again coming out of Zora's domain with the menu to Fire Rod in order to read the Crab RNG and the Zora RNG when trying to enter that little warp.
Yeah, that's definitely a very, very good spot to menu to the Fire Rod.
Andy dashing his way through Zora's domain without any issues there. No little hops in the drink.
It's also very important for our runners to get into Ice Palace without losing any health. So this upcoming screen where we have 2 different crabs in our way, and then we have a Zora in the water that we have to kind of get around if it's bad RNG. It's really important that we don't lose a heart because the second room in Ice Palace, we have to kill a jelly to grab a key. And typically when you don't have sword beams, that's the time that the jelly is going to electrify, so you can lose quite a bit of time there. Like Andy just playing it a little slow there to make sure that he keeps sword beams.
Yeah, absolutely worth the time to slash both of those enemies there and keep full hearts. Andy getting the free quick warp on the way into Ice Palace, just lining up on the left side of that portal.
Yeah, Ice Palace is personally, I gotta say, one of my favorite dungeons in this game.
Bydey sneaking through. He had a bad RNG with the Zora spawning just low enough that he couldn't Fire Rod it. Decided to swim in there anyway and got through. Just a couple of pixels of room.
So Ice Palace really ramps up the difficulty here, mainly because, well, we skip half of this dungeon with a bomb jump. And because we're doing that, we don't get the big key, and we don't get the big chest. And inside the big chest is blue mail, which kind of boosts up our defense a little bit so we can take more damage. So the developers basically made a lot of the enemies from here on out do more damage because, you know, there's mail upgrades. But since we're skipping that, the rest of this run at this point on kind of becomes a little hard.
Nice job by Andy there, using the spike to deboost and set up a dash. Now he's going to try to hover this gap instead of doing the bomb jump. So I'm practicing this during warm-ups. And
oh no! He gets the hover and then gets bopped!
oh, that's disaster. He gets it again pretty quickly, but yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, only Andy can hover, so he is a god.
A bit of a meme there, but I think he's one of the very few. I think he may be the only one that I've seen purposely hover this instead of doing the bomb jump.
He is the only person that will hover that bomb jump during a tournament run, no less. Right, Bydey saving a little bit of time over Andy in the Penguin lineup room.
And he's going to have to be a little bit careful on this boss fight. He's sitting at 3 hearts, so one touch from Cold Stare, the puffs, will be death for Andy, which would be an awful lot of time loss.
Yeah, for sure. He can take a falling icicle hit, but yeah, he touches Cold Stare, it's over. Go! Oh no! Commentator's curse.
Oh, it was so unfortunate.
Blame Monkey on that one, not Fricker. I didn't say anything.
That's fair. That's fair. I was trying to reverse curse it by pointing it out.
Okay, so Andy's gonna try to get magic. Nope, he's just gonna go right to Swamp Palace. This is a smart move from Andy. Alright, Bydey does the one poke very well, gets through Cold Stare.
Yeah,
Now,
Doomtap pointing out in chat, Andy's still trying to go for the double poke strat with only 3 hearts. might have been just a hair too risky for the situation.
I guess I can see some agreement there, but honestly, if I was in that situation, I would have done the same thing. It's just kind of a runner's mentality. Andy doesn't care about what's going on or how much health he does or doesn't have. He just kind of goes all out in his runs, and that's just kind of his style.
Yeah, that's fair. Expecting to get through unscathed, because he almost always gets through unscathed. So why change? Yeah, unfortunate turn of events for Andy for sure.
Now, Bydey definitely picks up the lead considerably here, but this run is still far from over.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Bydey's not looking at Andy's stream. He's not looking at the restream, so he has no idea that he just jumped into a huge lead. So I expect he's going to be, pushing along at just the same pace, being just as aggressive as he's been up to this point.
Andy's going to be behind by a couple of minutes for sure now. Yeah, I was about to say like 2.5, but yeah, 3 sounds a little bit more accurate. But you still have Uncle Bydey, and Uncle Bydey, this tournament race has been the death to a lot of top runners.
Yeah, a lot of runners overall. There has been a lot of carnage in Misery Mire in this tournament. Aptly named. Yeah, so what Andy's going to have to do here is he changed gears, went over to Swamp Palace because he's got no magic, and the very first room of Ice Palace requires you to use your Fire Rod to kill the Freezor. So rather than go in search of magic, you just go do the next dungeon that was on the list anyway, and at the end of this one, you'll get a free magic refill.
Yeah, I believe Andy killed the first pickle on the bottom right. He didn't see any magic drops, so he's like, alright, let's just go to Swamp. He wasn't going to waste any more time.
Yeah, pickles being in the magic prize packs, there's a chance of them driving a small magic, and somewhere along the prize pack there's a full magic drop. So you could get super lucky and get a full magic refill just from the pickles there, but yeah, not worth burning a whole lot of time hoping for a magic refill.
Yeah, it could also be like it's a curse or a blessing that Bydey's not watching Restream at this point, because he's still playing balls to the walls, which is really going to help him out. If you watch Restream and saw that he now has the lead, it can make him go for more safer strats, which could hurt him in the end result depending on how it goes. But
yeah, absolutely, and being an underdog, it's often the case that the underdog will be more nervous with a lead than they will be behind, because they're expecting to be behind. So there's nothing to be nervous about there. But you give them a glimpse of the potential to win a matchup, and all of a sudden the nerves might kick in, doing different strats than you're used to. That can be difficult to pull off.
For sure. Ooh, Bydey holding the wall, saving those frames in the water animation. Looks like Swamp Palace for Andy has been pretty smooth.
Yeah, a couple little hearts lost, but nothing to write home about. Swamp Palace it's an interesting dungeon to be mid-run. You're supposed to do it second in the Dark World according to the developers' intended routing. So you're pretty overpowered for it by the time you come here. So there's not a huge chance of disaster, especially for these top runners, but certainly can lose little bits of time here and there as the enemies, a lot of random movement to the enemies just getting chipped away at death by 1,000 guts.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see how Argus goes for Andy. He's going to try the zero cycle strategy. Basically just getting all the puffs dead before Argus has a chance to do a cycle, which looks like Andy got. And then going for the quick kill with the mirror. He is not going to go for the quick kill with the mirror.
That would be a bad idea.
Yeah, he probably tried to menu to the fire rod, saw that he hit mirror, and then obviously that's the next thing he needs after the fight, so he probably just stayed there. And yeah, good call up by Fox. He doesn't have any magic. I was just making sure that Fox was paying attention, that's all.
Yeah, that explains there was a little bit of a pause. He went into the menu. There was, about a half a second pause before he menued to an item, which is probably just, the gears turning that, okay, I usually use fire rod here, but, right, no magic. So, good call by him. And I think that's the benefit of all the rando, right? You're put in a lot of different situations. You have to think quick on your feet, and that's something that Andy definitely excels at.
I can honestly say 100%, if I was in Andy's situation at that point, I would have stayed on the fire rod, tried to use the fire rod, and then been confused when I couldn't do it. So that just shows you Andy's got a big brain when it comes to this game, so... All right, Andy, back to Ice Palace. So, common thing in A Link to the Past, what happens after you die to a boss? The second time always goes the best it could go.
Yeah, I expect to see a pixel perfect cold stare fight from Andy here. Just gotta race through the dungeon. Don't need to collect any keys. Don't need to blow up the floor again. Just get to cold stare and get out.
Yeah, Andy will definitely have to use another bomb to blow up that floor again.
Oh, that's right. That does reset when you leave the dungeon.
Oh, Bydey gets the zero cycle. Very nicely done. That zero cycle strategy saves like around 6 seconds. So it's very, very tough to do, but yeah. Alright, Bydey is in the longest crystal cutscene of the game, unfortunately. Andy looks like he's gonna go for the hover again, which probably is good because he's only down to 1 bomb, and he still needs bombs for the rest of the run. And
utilizing the hook shot, that makes that a little bit easier. You get the hover first try this time, which is a whole lot nicer than getting knocked in the pit.
Oh, the crystal cutscene. Apparently, you can drive a semi through Link, the space between Link and Bydey's crystal catch. Oh, Andy doing stair clip too. He's going all out. Alright, Bydey grabbing the portal rock from the bottom. That sets his altitude variable for him to get ready for the spooky action glitch. I actually really like where Bydey's sitting for bombs, too. Alright, ooh, Andy gets the dreaded the puff split.
I'm gonna put that one on you, Fricker. I'll take full credit for the first cold stare problem, but you called a perfect fight here. I agreed, but yeah, that one's on.
Yeah, well, he got past the boss, so I'll take that. Oh, interesting. That was a sword swipe for timing, so Bydey could skip getting hit by the Medusa fireball there.
Yeah, I've seen a number of runners use the sword swipe. Some of them use the little quick turn back. Both seem pretty effective when you get the good RNG with the fire snake.
Now, Andy, I believe, is going to go straight to grab Ether. Okay. Yeah, so
he's still got some shopping to do here. And unfortunately taking a hit right away, which means that he's gonna have to go for a non-optimal Mire too. That second room in Mire with sword beams is quite a bit easier. He'll still be able to get it done with Fire Rod, I think, based on his rando experience, but it's just a little trickier. Meanwhile, Bydey making it through Mire so far, so good. No damage taken. He's got his big key. He's on his way to get the red cane. And things are staying on script for now.
So Bydey is going to be making his way to the basement. And like I was saying before, he set the bird's altitude to a position where we're actually going to be doing what we call spooky action glitch here. So once we get down to the basement, we're actually going to kick up some dash dust before we place the block down. And basically what that dash dust is Ancilla for the game. And we're going to lock that in place so the altitude will now coincide with the splash damage of the fire rod. So basically we're going to see Bydey fire rodding some objects, and it's actually going to hit the crystal switch in higher points of the room, which is pretty cool and spooky. It saves us around like 12 seconds in the run, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, so here's my bit of fun trivia for the day. The term spooky action actually derives from a scientific field of study, so we'll put that out there for chat, see if anybody knows where the term spooky action comes from. Full phrase being spooky action at a distance. Yeah, we got Vortex, we got a few people in chat who know their science.
It looks like Bydey having a very good viddy. So as a reminder, I was saying earlier that this run is still not over, because you have a lot of different factors here. Even when it comes to GT, even my race a couple days ago, I despawned Ganon's Tower. So even though I was at the top, I had to mirror out of Ganon's Tower and start over from the bottom again. And that lost me exactly 3 minutes.
Yeah, a lot of run left to go. So yeah, I don't think anybody is crowning a champ quite yet. We've got quite a few scary screens left. And just to close the loop on the trivia question, yeah, everybody's got it right. Albert Einstein coined the phrase spooky action at a distance to describe a feature of quantum physics where two objects can share some state or condition despite being pretty far apart. Yeah, quantum entanglement.
That was pretty insightful. I did not know that. Alright, Bydey picking up the ice rod, and then he's going to be headed to the mountain for the final climb up to Turtle Rock, a dungeon that has no turtles. Don't you love this game?
It's really a lost opportunity there. I feel like they started out with Palace of Darkness. They could have used that as Turtle Rock for the dungeon design, but no, they left the turtles in pod and put a whole lot of other terrible enemies in TR instead.
Wouldn't it make more sense that Trinex is a dragon and not a turtle, especially having 3 heads?
Yeah, given that there was a 3-headed dragon in a previous Zelda game.
Dragons can have shells, Fox? No. Alright, well, we did not see any dead rocks on Bydey's side. Of course, he still has a couple more screens left, but definitely one of the worst enemies in the game, especially where we see so many of them on this mountain climb.
Yeah, Bydey getting a little beat up on the way into Turtle Rock. I don't imagine this will be a problem as long as he gets his fairy drop early enough.
Alright, and Andy getting through Spooky 2, headed to Spooky 3, and then off to Uncle Bydey.
Andy's sitting at just 6 hearts, which is not the most comfortable place for a Bydey fight. Generally looking at...
Yeah, he should be alright. The WQ Bydey strategy only loses like 4 hearts, so I think Andy will be alright. Nice, yep, exactly 4 hearts. Nicely done by Andy. Alright, on Bydey's side here, we're actually going to be purposely taking damage after grabbing this chest at the top of this next room. And that is the main reason why we held off on advancing the fairy prize pack. Because we are hoping to get a fairy drop on any of these Pokies coming up. There's quite a bit that we killed. We want to see the fairy drop before Chain Chomps, but we'll see how it goes for Bydey.
Yeah, particularly in Bydey's situation, having taken a bunch of damage before coming into the dungeon, he's got exactly 1 Chain Chomp or Pokey hit that he can take before he dies.
And we get the fairy. Nice. Unfortunately, since Bydey didn't have that much health, he does not get beams, but gets through Chain Chomps without being hit. That is a win in my book.
Absolutely. You get your fairy, get through Chain Chomps. Take that every day.
Did Andy get Ice Rod?
He did. He got Ice Rod after he got his Ether Medallion.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, that's right. That's old school strats. Going for Waffle House. What a gamer.
Yeah, and seeing Andy use the hook shot a couple of times there, you've got just a brief window after hook shotting those dead rocks to hit him again to knock him backwards. If he wasn't quick enough, would have been blocked there, but he gets through just fine. Gaming out of his mind to try to catch up here. Meanwhile, Bydey picking up his big key on his way to Pokies 2. Oh, and Andy getting stuck on the dead rock. That's unfortunate. That's another 8 seconds that he's not going to get back.
Oh, did he get dead rocked again?
He did. He did.
Good choice to scroll the screen back left and he got in again with the dead rock. Is this real life? Well, that's a link to the past.
Yeah, it's just too much when you're trying to make up ground, trying to come back, keep yourself in a position to be able to retake the lead if something goes wrong for Bydey, and then you get dead rocked 3 times in a row. That's just unfortunate.
All right, Bydey making quick work of Turtle Rock. Just a couple more rooms left before he faces off with Trinex. Well, I know Bydey has a kind of a personal strategy that he does for laser skip. He'll stop the dash, and then he'll slash his sword to the left, move down a pixel, and then dash left. It's pretty safe. We'll see what he does if he gets it. Oh, he tried to do it, hit the beetle instead, but it worked out for him. Unfortunately, he took a laser to the dome. Nice key dash. That was very close on that mini Helmasaur. Oh, Andy taking a roller bop. Nicely done. Oh no! Another one. All right, Andy going into chain chomps at 2.5.
He should still have the fairy drop as well. We'll see if he gets lucky and picks it up from the pokies. Bydey, meanwhile, racing through this Trinex fight. Backdoor strats, already took down the fire head, takes down the ice head. Now just waiting for a double spin and a slash here to finish this off.
Oh, Andy with the Brahmin block blast. Extra gamer.
That's a fun one to watch.
Yeah, that's a tough strategy to do for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if Bydey knows about the lead change, if he's watching. But yeah, this is at this point, this is definitely Bydey's race to lose for sure.
Yeah, he's finishing up his last crystal cutscene. I mean, he can't be feeling too bad at this point. I mean, he's about a minute behind PB pace. But in terms of his tournament races, this is the best pace he's been on for tournament. Yeah, actually, just a little below a minute now behind PB pace. So this is his fastest tournament pace thus far. Oh no! But Andy taking another hit there, still deciding to sneak through the roller there, despite being at 2.5 hearts.
Yeah, I'm assuming Andy's going to go for the Crystal Roller Room squeeze, which can be very scary because if he takes a hit, he will die. He's got good positioning. Nicely done. That's a scary strat to go for when you're under 4 hearts. Alright, Bydey is in GT. Now, I'm not sure if he goes for Torch Key. He goes for Torch Key. I knew that.
Yeah, even if he doesn't normally go for Torch Key in a race situation, it might just be a little comfier than trying to get the key at the top of the tower.
Yeah, I have seen runners, including myself, get stuck in that pre-Moldorm 2 key chest run, where you get hit, can't hook shot, and then you get bunny beamed, and oh, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, and without the mushroom to refill health, you know, if you take a few hits during the gauntlet on the way up the climb, and then you take another hit or two trying to get that key, you can be going into a pretty scary cannon fight with your adrenaline high.
For sure. Oh, Andy just going into Trinex with half a heart.
I mean, the extra heart's not going to do a ton for him. I guess if he bumps into a spike by accident, it'll save his life. But otherwise, everything else in here is going to do 4 hearts of damage anyway.
Alright, Bydey about to drop down to Ice Armos. Nicely done by Andy, cleaning up with a half a heart.
Yeah, and Bydey executing well through the GT basement here. Still at full health going into Ice Armos. You love to see it.
Yes, Ice Armos looks... Ooh, that one almost got away from him, but he cleaned it up nicely.
And one extra arrow for the homies.
Yeah, definitely super risky for Andy to go for optimal backdoor Trinex with a half a heart. But Andy's a gamer.
Well, like we said earlier, it's one of those things where if he only ever does backdoor, and then in a race situation decides he's going to try front door just because he's at half a heart, that could backfire pretty spectacularly.
Yeah, for sure. Bydey having very nice Mimics 1 room. See how Mimics 2 goes for him. Nicely done. Those two rooms back to back are so tough to get through.
Yeah, similar to that series of rooms in Aga Tower, this little section here leading up into the gauntlet, none of the rooms are particularly hard individually, but to be able to do them all consistently well in a row is a pretty high bar.
Alright, Bydey using an arrow in Gauntlet 2. Nicely done. Getting through G3 pretty nicely. Had some friendly RNG with the Zazaks.
Yeah, I like the bonk strat there. I think this is another Bydey special there, using the arrow to lock that red Zizak in place to be able to dash through him. Rooms are going by too fast to even discuss.
Bydey getting a nice one cycle land mode too. I like it. I love how smoothly these Whiz Road rooms go with the Kena Samaria.
Yeah, there's certainly some of the more satisfying rooms to learn, especially when you're just starting out running Link to the Past.
Right.
Andy taking a couple of hearts of damage so far in the basement. We'll see if that has an effect on his climb.
Alright, Bydey successfully getting through without the jingle glitch. Alright, Andy making quick work of Ice Armos while Bydey goes into the Moldorm 2 fight. Using the hook shot, nicely done. Unfortunately, the first hit was a poke, so he's got to get one more hit in there. Getting bullied, but gets it done.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty good Moldorm 2 fight until you get the bad news that that first hit was just a poke.
Andy having a little trouble in Mimics 1.
Yeah, running into the spike to boot, so down to 6 hearts now.
Ooh. He tried to deboost through that so he could get all 3, but... Oh, the dreaded triangle pattern. But he gets 2 off of it. That was nicely done. Nice. I think he's got all energy balls. I haven't seen a blue ball yet. Alright, it's pretty good. I think that was a 4 cycle.
Yeah, it was a 4 cycle for Bydey. Meanwhile, Andy just keeps bleeding health here. It's starting to get scary. 3.5 hearts going into the gauntlet.
Yeah, and unfortunately, after beating Ganon's Tower, you do not get a health refill. So... Andy finishes this out. He is very, very low on health. Bydey dropping into Ganon. He's going to do what we call a 1-in-1, so he's going to take out phase 1 and 2 together in one cycle. Gets the trident spin. Alright, we're through phase 1, starting the bat phase. Very nice, using the hook iframes, getting the double spins below, and we are through phase 2.
I think that's the first time I've seen that particular 1-in-1 pattern with the bottom left using the hook shot there. That was a little bit scary when you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, for sure. Alright. Ganon warping. Not too bad, though. That must have been the first warp, because those tiles went down quick. Alright, Bydey getting the free spin. Waits out the bat. Uses the hook. Nicely done. Gets the torch glitch with the lamp. And we are into phase 4.
Not messing around with the fire rod here, just guaranteeing torch glitch with that lamp there, hammering on it.
Alright, Bydey's just got to get these 10 more spins in. Make sure he doesn't hug Ganon, because he is at 7 hearts. And he should be home free.
Getting into a nice rhythm here. A little bit of a rocky start to phase 4, but he settles in with a couple triples to finish it off. Very nicely done.
GG to Bydey. I think Andy's going to try to hover here, I would only assume. Yep, he's going to take the long hover. Bydey finishing with a 126.22. Oh, and Andy falls.
Yeah, so Bydey putting up his best time of the tournament so far with that 126.22.
Yeah, the hovering is very, very tough trick. You basically have to hit the A button, and then 1 frame later, let it go, and then hit it again for many, many times. So it's a very tough trick to get.
Yeah, and the fact that Andy and some of these other runners can do it so consistently is just beyond impressive.
Yeah, I can get hover, sometimes in practice, but you throw that into a speed run, or if you're on pace, or even a tournament run, never going to happen. I will immediately fall the first pixel. All right, Andy getting 2 on the first phase.
A little friendlier patterns here for Andy, which is nice. Helps him finish off Aga 2 a little quicker.
Yeah, finishing off with the triple. All right, Andy dropping into Ganon. Did Andy just mirror?
He mirrored and he's fluting, and while he's doing some errands here, we've got Bydey joining us. Congrats on the win, Bydey.
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I was pretty disappointed with that run. I didn't think that was a great run at all. Andy must have had a mistake somewhere, because I'm pretty sure he would have been ahead on the light world after my light world, because I was plus over a minute on my light world.
Well, you're right there. He was a little bit ahead going into light world. He had 6 blue balls, which allowed you to make up a little bit of time, and things kind of held steady up until Ice Palace, when Andy lost some health along the way and then bumped into Cold Stare to die.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not plus a minute. So I was plus 25. I had a really bad hair. I was just lucky to stay alive. I took it pretty safe. And then I even missed, I don't know what happened, but in Aga, I actually just stood at the top and I forgot about one of the energy balls and I got smoked in the face with it. I don't know if you guys saw that.
we did notice that, yeah.
Yeah, we were both talking and we were like, did he forget it was light, or he thought it was lightning phase?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. And then I lost a little bit more time in Pod and Thieves Town, and then I actually was pretty happy with how it went. I gamed really hard at the end, it's kind of the opposite of, people that know me. Usually my light world's amazing and my end game is terrible, but I've been working hard the last 3 days at the end game and my light world suffered for it. So I was honestly happy to close out a really good end game. TR, GT, and Ganon played a little bit safer, but Yeah, I guess I'm happy to get the win. So obviously, you don't like to get a win with the opponent getting a mistake, but I mean that's how she goes in a race. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a little surprised to hear you say that you were disappointed with the run. Immediately before you joining the call, I was pointing out this was your best tournament time so far by about 16 seconds. Was thinking maybe you were feeling pretty good about the run. It was a very solid Dark World for sure.
you know what? I've got high expectations. The mistakes I was making were just mistakes I shouldn't be making. And they were very costly mistakes. And obviously put up a really big PB not too long ago, and have been putting up 125. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just how I felt all through the run, but I didn't give up. I usually it's early in the tournament, I've been get my head down and not playing terrible, and I didn't let it get to me though. Even though I was making mistakes, I just kept doing as best as I could the whole way through, and I think I closed it out really, really well. I got progressively better towards the end, so I am really, really happy about that. And I'm obviously happy to get the win as well. So
you decided not to look at where Andy was, not to look at the restream. Are you glad about that? Would you have been more nervous, do you think, seeing Andy die in Ice Palace, or do you think that would have allowed you to calm down and get through the rest of the run pretty chill?
You know what? I decided to check at Aga. That's why I got smoked by the by the energy ball. I'm embarrassed to say it, but I thought it was the lightning cycle, so I quickly had Andy's scream on the copy, and I pasted it in quickly to check where he was at. And I knew it was close, and I knew he got blue balls, and then I got smoked, and I was really annoyed. And I was like, oh, for God's sake. The one thing, I wasn't going to check, and I checked, and it just cost me like 6 seconds. So, but then I turned it off until the end of TR. The main reason I wanted to check at TR is because I didn't want to go, crazy on GT if I didn't have to, losing hearts, and especially on Ganon, going for the first slash. So I did check at the end of TR. I saw that I was out of TR and he was going into Poke's 1, I think. So I knew that all I had to do was just finish GT and finish Ganon. So that's why my Ganon, I took it a little bit safer than I had to. I didn't go for all the triples, and just made sure that I wasn't getting hit by the bats and the cycles and stuff like that. So I did do 2 checks. I checked at end of Aga and I checked at TR. So. But it didn't affect me. I wasn't nervous at all. My finger didn't bother me. It bothered me a little bit in escape, but after that it was fine. It's once I got used to it. I couldn't do 4-finger mashing, so I was doing 3-button mashing the whole time, which felt a little bit strange. But other than that, it was just like a normal run.
Yeah, that's something we didn't mention during the stream. Wasn't sure if you would have been comfortable with that, but you did injure your finger immediately before the race, right?
Yeah, I was making a stir fry for my wife and kids, and the knife slipped and I chopped the end of my tip of my left middle finger off. But I bandaged it up and it was fine. I didn't want it to be like an excuse if I lost, So I wasn't going to mention it too much, but it didn't affect me at all. In escape, I did a little bit just for one trick because I wasn't used to the grip, but other than that, it was fine. It didn't bother me at all. It wasn't the reason why I had any bad executions or anything like that. So
yeah, and GG's in chat for Andy. Sorry, Fricker, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the same thing. Just GG's to Andy finishing. He got to show a little bit of not so much major glitches and some restricted major glitches, which was fun, but definitely not the race Andy was looking for, but still holding in there and finishing strong. So GG's to Andy.
Yeah, so any other thoughts on the seed or your upcoming matchup with Foxlisk?
Actually, I hadn't looked that far ahead, so I didn't actually realize that Fox was my opponent. I guess I'm just taking it one race at a time, but yeah, that's Fox is good. He's probably the guy I've known the longest on Twitch. He was the first guy I ever watched on Twitch while playing this game, so definitely a lot of history. We're both very close in times. I think there's only maybe 10 or 9 or so seconds between our PBs, so it should be a very, very good race. I'm looking forward to it. So.
Yeah, that's all I got. Anything else, Monkey or Bydey?
I guess just as always, thank you so much for the restream. I really appreciate you guys, putting the time and effort in to make this happen, especially on such short notice for us. Thanks to Fricker McMonkey for the commentating. I will watch it back, and I'm hoping it'll be good to watch that. And obviously, thanks again to Andy for the race. I really appreciate it. I guess what that makes us even. That's 1-1. So maybe sometime we can roll it back for the finish, because that was obviously the rematch. So maybe sometime in the future we'll get to roll it back, or at another tournament. So
yeah, for sure, that'll be super fun to watch. But yeah, GG's to Bydey for moving on. Good luck in your next game for Fox, and another GG's to Andy. Unfortunately, this is the end of the road. But Andy, please keep running NMG. I want to see you bop Josh. And thank you, Monkey, for the comms and the restream.
Yeah, thanks, Fricker. This was a blast. And I think
I just want to say one last thing about Andy. I just GG's to him on getting his huge PB. I was actually got to be part of that. I was actually cycling at the time, and I was watching his big PB. So GG's to that. It's an absolutely huge run, massive 124. And like Fricker said, I hope he doesn't stop. I hope every now and then he keeps going, and maybe we'll see a 123 out of him one day. He's definitely got the skill level to do it. So.
Yeah, and with that, I think we'll hand it back over to Angry Demon Noises.
All right, I was gonna give Andy a little bit to jump in for an interview he wanted, but I guess not. Let me check our schedule and see what we got coming up. We've got a couple of Link to the Past randomizer matches coming up this weekend, and I'm sure whenever these matches come up, they will show up on our schedule as well, so be sure to keep an eye on those things. Thanks to the runners and the commentary. It was pretty fun. I guess we'll go ahead and rate Andy. You guys can go say GG to him there. Sounds good to me. But yeah, thanks so much, everyone.